Welcome to Between the Whistles, Detroit. I'm your host, Joe Chapp. Obviously, Detroit Lions News Podcast is associated with Between the Whistles. We'll have a new podcast tomorrow, so stay tuned on that. Yesterday, the Detroit Lions signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And I know, just because I know what the takes are, the first thing that people were going to mention how it was going to make the defense better. No shit, Sherlock. Like, you didn't expect that C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a guy who led the league in interceptions, a guy who is absolutely a jack of all trades. He can play the corner position. He can play the safety position. He's an absolute freak. Of course that guy makes the defense better. I mean, come on. Like, you can't be serious with that take. And I've seen it all over the place. So I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to be like everyone else. That's a lame take. Here's where I stand. What Brad Holmes did in this free agency class, he signed Alex Anzalone. Good sign, because you know what? Alex Anzalone, for all the flack he gets, he's not a bad linebacker. He signs Cameron Sutton. He signs Emmanuel Mosley. He signs David Montgomery, the running back. Instead of Jamal, it's David Montgomery. David Montgomery, he has more upside than Jamal. To be honest, Jamal, as great as a teammate as he was for the Detroit Lions, he was not as good as a runner as David Montgomery. David Montgomery played with a horrible Chicago Bears offensive line, okay? And then you top it all off with the last couple of days, you had Jake McQuaid, who signed today. He's the long snapper. Graham Glasgow. And then you had C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And I can tell you right now, guys. I can tell you right now. This team is ready to compete right now. Like, you could start the season right now and they'd be ready to compete. Not just for the division. Not for just the division. The NFC Championship, and even a Super Bowl. And I know a lot of you people are just afraid to say it because, you know, all the Lions. I've been a Lions fan for 60 years. I've been a Lions fan for 60 years. Shut up. Shut up. It's about time you grow it set. Look at what Brad Holmes is building. Look at the draft capital he has. In the draft, he has 2 first-round picks. He's going to have multiple chances at Apple Card, and if he really wants, he can trade up in the draft and get the best player available. Or he could sit back, take what's best player available. He could take it Osiris Torrance and put him at guard. He could take a wide receiver like Quentin Johnson and put him out there with the big body wide receiver like Quentin Johnson with Jameson Williams and St. Brown. Wow. But what Brad Holmes has done is he's created draft flexibility. They don't have to go into the draft, and they don't have to go, we got to select a corner. We got to select a linebacker. We got to select a defensive tackle. He has made to where they can go, and they can be flexible. They can be flexible. For instance, last year, the Philadelphia Eagles were flexible in the draft. Here's what they did. They traded for A.J. Brown. It's those little things that you do as a general manager that make you an elite general manager. And what Brad Holmes has done in the free agency period has shown you that, listen, you can compete right now. But this is not the end of it. He's going to add some more pieces along the line, especially with the draft. But you don't know what could happen at the draft. No one knew A.J. Brown would be dealt for peanuts. To be honest, like A.J. Brown, one of the best wide receivers in the league, disgruntled. You know, Tennessee didn't like his attitude. The general manager wanted to shop him out of town. Found the Eagles. Pissed off Vrabel. The Tennessee Titans look like absolute dog crap this year. Why? Because players like that sometimes come available when you least expect it. And what Brad Holmes has done is he has the draft flexibility, but he's also made this team a contender right now. And he's going to add those pieces with the draft. He's going to add those pieces with, you know, cuts in this, you know, in the training camp. There is a lot to be done. But what Brad Holmes has shown you right now is that this team going forward is going to be a contender in the NFC is going to be a contender in this for a Super Bowl, and this division is the Detroit Lions right now. And I know a lot of you are scared. Oh, but well, I've been a fan for 60 years and nothing's happened. Shut up. Just shut up. It's like if you got stiffed by a girl, right? She goes out there and you go out there and you go to dinner with her and you figure out that she ain't a girl. She, she ain't a girl. And, she catfished you. Are you going to quit dating? Are you going to quit dating? It's the same thing with the Lions. Yeah, it hasn't been a great time to be a fan, obviously, with the Quintricia era, the Mayhew era. We had that good little sliver of hope with Caldwell, but that was fool's gold. Obviously, the Millen era. You haven't seen good football since Barry Sanders. And I'm here to tell you what Brad Holmes is building in Detroit, what Dan Campbell is doing with the culture is going to take you farther than you've ever been before. So get ready. It's happening. Just look at it right now. And that's what's happening with the Detroit Lions. We'll have a podcast tomorrow, Detroit Lions News Podcast. We'll talk about all the things with Tyler. So stay tuned to that, and we will keep you entertained through the YouTube channel with Tigers, Red Wings, Lions, Pistons, Michigan State. Just stay tuned to the Between the Whistles YouTube page and subscribe now.